Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are on There's No Crying in Crochet. This is the podcast where we take your everyday crochet frustrations and we try to give you some answers. And we also touch on other fun subjects as we go along. I am Biz from Busy Crochet, and this is my cohort in crime.
Debbie from Madam Stitch.
Nice to have everybody here. Hi, Dawn. You gave us a hello before we even started. You're always
Exactly.
we look for you every week. But we are having a fun subject today, but we're gonna wait just a minute to get on with that. We got some business we got to take care of first. First of all, if you are on YouTube and you are streaming us through there, make sure you give us a like on and a subscribe on our channels. I'm Busy Crochet. Deb is Madam Stitch Crochet on YouTube. We would love for you to join us. We're trying to upgrade and update our video inventory on a very regular basis. I know that Deb's got some great tutorials that she's putting out lately. And if you are following us on Facebook, give StreamYard the right to see your name, which you just give them permission. All it does is use your name for as far as we know. I mean, Facebook already has all of your information anyway, right? So,
well, we have lively discussions, and when people comment,
yes,
it's always wonderful to call by name. So
yes.
we like personal interaction rather than anonymous, right?
Yeah, anonymous users, how you would come through otherwise. Excuse me, I have got a stuffy nose today. I apologize for all the snuffing that I'm going to do. But Deb, what have you been up to this week? We didn't really have a chance to catch up before we started.
We did not. Just kind of nose to the grindstone, getting a lot of things done here on the Madam Stitch home front. This week, this is apparently the season for grandparents' activities.
Okay.
Because this past Sunday, we went to what's called a Tricky Tray event. So the high school band, oldest grandson, had a dinner where they made homemade soups and desserts and all of that, had a chili cook-off, that sort of thing. Tricky Tray, I have no idea where the name came from. I think it's something that's East Coast specific, but it's basically where I think it's basically where people put together themed baskets.
Okay.
So, there might be a movie night one, there might be a gardening one, there might be a kitchenware one. There was a yarn basket this time, which I did not win. But you get tickets with your admission ticket, and you put them in the baskets that you are hoping to win, and then at the end they draw tickets out to see who won it. At the Scout dinner 2 weeks ago, we won 2 big baskets. One was a gardening one, and one was all of this Italian food stuff.
Yum.
This week we won a huge basket that was bee themed, BEE. So it had 2 plates, a mug, 2 mugs, all of these snacks, a little personal pancake maker, all of this cool stuff for the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
It was so expensive. Oh my gosh. And I won it. I couldn't believe it. So it's been a very lucrative 2 weeks over here for us. And the weather is warming up. It's still high winds and things like that, but it's probably going to get up in the 50s, 60s in the next week, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Sounds like your weather's going to be great. I actually have no idea what my weather's supposed to be like here.
Well, I saw you had some storms come through, because we had a really bad storm on Wednesday, and that was all the way down to you. I think that came through your.
It's been kind of raining for the last couple of nights. But it looks like we have rain tomorrow. We're expected to have, and Sunday a thunderstorm. So this weekend's going to be juicy. Fun. But that's okay, because I am having what I'm calling a nothing burger Saturday. And that means I have no plans to do anything but what I want to do. It's a nothing burger.
Oh, man. That sounds glorious.
Yeah, and Tony, we are having currently an issue with a squirrel that wants to live in our walls. So it is his and see, this is how bad it is. He is eating my plants and coming inside my house to do it. So
What?
yes, so it is a daily. My husband gets up daily and scours the house for evidence of this little critter. And
So he's actually in your living space.
yes, he gets in my living space, and that's where it's like,
No.
okay, I'm having a fit now. Because of
No.
course we have the baby. He doesn't bother bedroom areas, doesn't bother bathroom areas, none of that stuff. Just where my plants are, so he can eat my plants. And then of course, we've got one of those hanging baskets that has like our onions and our potatoes and things. Well, not anymore.
Oh, yeah.
He ate those, and we had some bread sitting on top of the bread holder. Well, that he ate that. So I mean, I'll
Oh,
tell you what,
gosh.
this little
This has to be one huge fat squirrel at this
he's
point. Come
got
on.
it is, it's disgusting. And I see John saying, "Oh, yucky." Yes, you are absolutely correct. It is yucky. I am not happy about it. So my
I
husband,
don't
yeah,
understand.
that's his one goal this weekend is he's like, I'm gonna find out where that little bee is coming in, and I'm gonna I'm gonna get rid of him because this is not happening anymore. It was just this week. It's only been this week. So yeah, we are vigilant and scrubbing everything every day.
Well, okay, we don't need to get into a squirrel catching naming contest or whatever, but I'm curious, how is this squirrel getting in? I mean, they only need, the smallest of cracks, I
We
guess.
live we live in an older home for Florida, and so we think that he's getting up in through the soffit area and up into the attic. So our attic is all open, basically. Obviously, open enough for him to. There are nights when it sounded like he was having a rave up there. Just they're very active animals, and so we knew he was up in the ceiling for a while, but like in an older home, you just get used to hearing stuff in the walls. I mean, I grew up in an old farmhouse in Wisconsin, and we had squirrels on the wall. That just was how we lived. So the fact that we had, a squirrel in the ceiling, okay, not a big deal. But then he started invading the house, and that's where it became a
Yeah,
problem. And now
yeah.
he doesn't get to stay anymore.
No, evicted. So,
So, I mean, not to share my gross house with you or anything, but like I said, we are running around scrubbing everything every single day because we don't know where it's been. So,
oh, well, good luck with that, darling.
thank you. my,
Oh my
all of my
gosh.
gross news. All right. So, today we're going to have a fun topic about how to support crochet designers without necessarily having to spend money to do it. Because we are in an economy right now where everybody is cinching their belts really tight and everybody's having to think about every dollar they spend. So that, kind of includes these extra things like buying patterns and buying yarns and things like that. Some people say, forget about it. I'm going to make it a priority. I don't care. I'm taking care of myself. Others need to think about it for a minute before they buy something. So we wanted to give you guys some ideas that you can still feel like, even though I can't afford to necessarily buy your pattern, maybe, although we're always going to encourage you to do that because it helps them. But these other ways can also keep you involved with your designers without having to feel like you can't afford your designer.
Right. I think all of us as crochet designers, or at least one of the things that we really strive for, is to try to meet all of our customers, all of our makers where they are.
Yeah.
It's not just about cranking out patterns and selling them. It's so much more. And
Mm,
I think today, not only, at least for me, we're going to share these things, but there are a few things that we want to explain why we do them,
mhm.
even though they may be really irritating for you. There's a reason why we do them,
Yeah.
and without them, we're sort of lost. So
Yes.
we hope that after this episode, you find some ways to engage with us and to engage with our designs
And
that
give us
help us.
lots of mercy.
Yes, and grace.
Mhm. All right. So first up, we've got on our list here talking about free patterns on the blog. Um, so what does a free pattern on the blog mean to you? It might be something different for me.
Well, I actually struggled with this for a very long time. I didn't have free patterns on the blog for a very long time because um, it felt weird to give away what I had spent hours on and spent dollars on to create, just give it away for free.
Mhm.
But now I've started converting most all of my patterns to free patterns, even the old ones, and here's why. On the blog, what I will do is I go extensively into why you might need that pattern. What
Mhm.
problem does it solve for you? And I do a lot of scarves and cowls. So that problem that a lot of my patterns solve is giving you something stylish to wear when you go out on a cool evening or just want to dress up an outfit or something like that. So I explain, first of all, why I created it. I talk about how I came up with the design, the construction of it, so you know how it's all put together. I
Mhm.
talk about the yarn that I chose so that if you don't get the yarn that I made the sample out of, you have a more informed view of what kind of yarn will work for that particular
Options. Yeah.
project, right?
Yep.
I give you the option to buy a premium PDF. And when I say premium PDF, mine usually includes something extra, like
Mhm.
a little bit more detail in the instructions, or I love to make crochet charts. And a lot of my customers like crochet charts because it helps them see where the stitches are.
Mhm.
And it's very nicely formatted without ads. And then I put the entire free pattern down at the bottom of the post. And so that's what a free pattern means to me. So
Mhm.
what I think you do a lot the same as me on your blog post, right?
Yeah, I have actually altered the way that I do my free patterns only because I started blogging in like 2006 when blogs were nothing fancy. And then WordPress came along, and at the time that WordPress came along, I wasn't really blogging. So I just kept my Blogger blog, you know. And now it's to the point where it would take so much for me to transfer it over to a WordPress. Oh Lord Jesus. So we just work with what we have. And
Yes.
what I started doing though is I do put more information about like how the pattern came about, what's the story behind it, just because I find it more interesting to purchase patterns or use patterns that have a little bit of back information
Hmm.
on them. Excuse me. I always put the full free pattern on my website or on my blog. I've always done that though. Now I take it back. There's just a few that aren't quite converted over yet, but they will be. But for the majority, all of my patterns are free on my blog. Um, Now, some of them are so old that I really need to go in there and reformat the blog post because now I've got it so that I've got links in there for you to either buy it on Ravelry or my website. I don't use Etsy anymore. It's just a personal choice of mine. But Ravelry or my blog, not blog, website. And when you do buy an upgrade from me, I always have it available in US and UK. Sometimes, depending on the pattern, there will also be helper videos throughout. I'm starting to work on making all of my helper videos available on YouTube for free as well. Right now, I have quite a few blankets that have full on blanket tutorials, like it's the whole pattern, walking you through it through each stitch. But it's only available if you buy that pattern, and the links are within the pattern.
Right.
So I have quite a few blanket patterns that are like that. But for me, the free is I do that because, like I said, when I started, it was like 2006. There was no such thing as selling your patterns back in 2006.
Hmm.
You gave away your pattern because you were hoping somebody was going to use it, just you know, to pick you up.
Yeah.
Like, back then, blogging was just a very baby way of becoming, like what it is now, like bloggers who actually make money and have full-time careers being a blogger. That's
Right.
when it started. and I don't know what I was doing. I just wanted to share my patterns, and I just wanted to talk about crochet, because the only place
Yeah.
that there was to really talk about crochet at that time was Crochetville.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Crochetville? That was like 100 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure I actually used it. I was very much a magazine and book pattern
Yeah,
fan. There were
I
so many
love
magazines
crochet.
that
A lot of
provided patterns.
I could
Yeah.
talk to people.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
came
so that
Ravelry. But yeah, so free patterns can mean something different to each designer. Either way, though, uh, like you were saying, the designer has to put out their own finances, their own time, their own, everything
mhm.
in order to create this pattern to put it out there for free.
Yeah, so I just to give you an idea of what goes into making a pattern, and I'm sure that those who are listening probably can figure out that this is what happens behind the scenes,
Uh-huh.
but consider that the average pattern it costs between $3 and $7, let's say, depending
Mhm.
upon how big that pattern is. But for us to produce it, we have to buy the supplies to make the sample. We have to go through testing, and we might have to perfect that design if something doesn't work like we thought it would. It takes time to write the pattern, although I will say that after doing it for this long and knowing my style by heart, I I have sort of a template in my head that as I'm making that sample, I'm writing the pattern in the form that I'm going to use for the premium PDF.
Mhm.
Um, and it takes time to write the pattern.
Mhm.
It takes time. It takes money to tech edit it, to test it. It takes time to make the video tutorial if that's what you choose, and all of that. I saw one designer claim, and I think she's probably right for her business. I don't think this applies to me. That for every pattern she puts out, it costs her $1,000. Now that's a lot. Yeah, I know, and I'm wondering what she's doing to
Like,
cost
what
a
you doing,
thousand
girl?
dollars. I know. It doesn't cost me that much, but actually, if you think about how much time it takes, let's say to make a blanket, it takes hours. If you assign an hourly rate for my work
Yeah.
and multiply that by the hours it took to make the blanket, then
Yeah.
that gets into a lot of it's why people don't buy handmade blankets that are finished. They're just too darn expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of money and time that goes into producing that pattern.
Yeah.
So giving it away for free, somehow we have to sustain our business
Mhm.
by recouping some of that money. So
Mhm.
here's how we do it.
Yes. All right.
Um,
I think I lost it on my list.
oh, well, the next thing is, spending time on our blogs earns us money. We get ad revenue, right?
Mhm.
So spending the more time that someone spends on our blog, the more money we make without the person who's spending the time on our blog
Yes.
spending any money, right? So that's the best way to pay for our free patterns is to actually spend time. So if you it's actually against copyright law to print out that free pattern from the blog because that's our words are copyrighted, our instructions are copyrighted. To screenshot it
Unless
to
they
print,
provide you with a print.
unless they provide you with it, and then that's okay. But in
Mhm.
general, just going in and printing off the pattern because you don't feel like staying on the blog
Yep.
is actually against copyright law.
Yeah.
So spending bookmarking that free pattern page and coming
Mhm.
back to it or keeping
Yeah.
it open helps Google understand that people like what we're writing
Mhm.
and they show us more in
Yeah.
the search results.
And even I'm gonna just flip over real quick when you see a designer joining a blog hop or something like that. This applies to that as well, because they're putting their pattern out there. Usually, it's a free or a discounted download that they're providing you for that day for that hop. But just the fact of you going to that website to their blog gives them
Hmm.
pennies. you know, just for ad revenue, just for showing up there and doing whatever it is you need to do to go through and get your free pattern. Just that little bit of time that you spend on there, that actually helps them.
Yes. Now, let's talk about ad revenue, because this is the biggest income stream from what we put on our blogs as a
Yeah.
general rule.
Yeah.
And it's this to me is equal to the horrific nightmare of weaving in ends, 1,000 of them on a blanket. Spending time on someone's blog when there are ads is annoying.
Yeah.
We get it. And I personally try to minimize the number of ads that appear, just so that you can actually see the content. But, you know, that doesn't always happen, and I don't have control over it all the time. But passing through even if you don't click on the ads, which you don't have to,
Yeah.
that means that ad has been seen, and that provides the designer with income.
Right. I mean, there are times when I go on my website because I'm like, oh, wait, I know, or on my blog, and because I know that, or somebody's asking for something on Facebook, and I know if I just go find the link and I'll post the link for them or whatever. There are times when I'm looking through my own blog, and if I leave the page and go back, and then there's this thing that blocks and I've got to find that teeny tiny little X up in the corner.
Yeah.
I get mad at my own blog. It's like, come on, you have got to be kidding me.
Well, I'll tell you the one that kills me, and it's insidious, and I'm sure you all have seen it. Probably all of us have clicked on it at one point or another. There's an ad that comes up that says, download your PDF now, or open the PDF,
or print
the PDF. That is an ad. That is not us going, here, go to the PDF. It is an ad for an app. Yeah. And that one makes me angry. But I can't, you know.
Burns my butter.
It does. So ad revenue is really important to us, to designers. So as annoying as they can be, bear with us. There are little X's every now and then that you can click on that get rid of the ad, get rid of the video, get rid of the stuff. Do that. Don't click on the ad, but click on the X so that you can get out of it.
The
but
ones
that still
I try
helps
not
us.
to have on mine are the videos, because it irritates me to no end when I'm trying to look at a website and this little video keeps popping up, even after I've X'd out of that sucker at least 7 times, and I can't ever get it to stop talking or whatever it is. So I either can't hear what's happening or I can't get past it because it won't scroll. If I get stuck on somebody's video, I just leave their page.
So be aware that those very same things that irritate you irritate us. And we try as hard as possible not to irritate you, because we love you. And we want you to be there for our free patterns, because we had fun making them, and we want you to make them too. Yes. So just be aware that that's a thing for us. Now, Biz, I wanted to explain something that I use on my website. Again, it's something that's free, but it's starting to rub people the wrong way, and I want to explain why I use it. So there's this app called Grow.
Yeah,
GROW, right? It's a universal app. It's not just for crochet designers. It's all across the web. Anyone who uses Grow can create exclusive content on their blogs. And in order to see that exclusive content, the user, that would be you, the maker, has to enter an email address and create a password. Now, I know my daughter is one of these people. That's fine. I get really prickly about creating yet another account. But let me explain to you how that works. Once you create that account, you are now in every single every time you see Grow anywhere. You are, well, you might have to log in, but you're not creating a new account every time. The first time you go in, let's say you go to my blog, not every one of my free patterns has this. but you'll scroll down and you'll see this is locked exclusive content. Enter your email address, your name and email address, and you can see it. If that's the first time you're doing it, that's when you create the Grow account.
Gotcha.
Then you can go to a recipe blogger, you can go to a travel blogger, you can go to any blogger who uses it, and that exclusive content is now available to you without any further action, none.
Okay.
But what you have to know is that Grow controls your password. So I don't get the password because, again, it's not exclusive to me. It's all over the place. So if you forget your password, you have to reset it with Grow, not with me. But I've done that mainly because there's a lot of stealing of content going on. It's starting to get worse. Sometimes it's wannabe crochet designers that don't want to go through the work of creating their designs, so they steal other people's stuff that's free on the blog. Or now that we have AI that's training itself to be better at, it can't create crochet patterns yet, but it can take the information and work with it. I have to tell you, I searched one of my own patterns on Google the other day, and the AI overview came up with almost a word for word verbatim of my blog post.
Really?
Without crediting me as the owner of that content. So I'm starting to get more into using that exclusive content to give them one more step to be able to find my stuff. Now, again, you're giving your email address, but that's it. It's free. The exclusive content is free. And I appreciate that there are a lot of people who don't want to do that, but that's another way that I can kind of protect and curate my content.
So this Grow thing is not something where you're collecting their information. It's a separate thing. It just protects your pattern.
It protects my pattern.
Okay.
Now I have it set up that anyone who creates an account on my blog gets added to my email list, but only if there's a box they have to check for that. And then it goes into my service provider, but otherwise I can't see a list of people So anyway, I just wanted to explain that because
I can see where people would be like, well, I'm just getting, like they're just doing this so they can mine my information. Not necessarily. So I can see where this would be.
You actually have to give me permission to use that information, and then I get it.
Gotcha.
All right.
But you do have here on the list also about joining the email list.
Yes. You and I both have email lists, right?
Yeah. I have actually paused my email list for the time being. With being in school and stuff like that, I cannot keep up with all of the back end stuff of a crochet business. Right now, I'm barely hanging on, people. So
I'm not laughing at you. I know.
I know. We've talked about this so many times, though. Like, I am literally hanging on by my overgrown toenail. So I just.
But I have a very active email list that gets a couple of emails a week. And there are several ways that you can join the email list. You'll see on any of my blog posts, there's just a general join my email list.
Yeah.
But I also have free downloads that you can do. So every once in a while, you'll see on a blog post a yarn substitution worksheet. That's a downloadable PDF that will help you work through figuring out if the yarn that you want to use is a proper substitute. A progress tracker. I've got some how to read crochet pattern stuff. And any one of those is how you subscribe to my email list.
Yep. And a lot of people, when they ask you to sign up for the email list, will give you some kind of a free downloadable, and there's just as many who don't. I never could figure out how to get the free downloadable thing connected. Just my brain. So people signed up because they wanted me. I
think that's fabulous. That's great.
Oh, but I had so many bots in there. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, remember, if you sign up for, as a general rule, if you sign up for a Crochet Designers email list, we all do things differently, but as a general rule, you'll get special discounts. You might find out about something ahead of time, have advance notice for special events and things like that. So you get
Yeah.
kind of
Cal
insider
signups and
information,
that kind of
tips
stuff.
and things like that. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely. Alrighty. Let's see. Share on the designer's work in progress Wednesday posts. Do you mean share your work in progress on their work in progress?
Right. So, yeah, Dawn actually did this in my Facebook group when we were doing the cocoon sweater um, Cal in
Yeah.
January and into February. She actually shared her finished cocoon sweater
Yes.
on a work. I don't know if it was specifically a work in progress Wednesday, but every once in a while in my Facebook group, every once in a while on Instagram, I will put up a post that says share your whips.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is see pictures. We want
Yes.
to get people talking about the other stuff that they're making. And it's just a great way to promote that designer without spending any money. You're just
For sure.
posting a picture and commenting on other people's works in progress.
And support. It's not just
Mhm.
necessarily about you know, promoting. It's also just support. Just
Right.
being like, we love to see people interact with our posts because, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
we're here to get to know you, and that's
Mhm.
one way to do it is on work in progress posts, especially.
Yeah,
Um,
I love recognizing names in my groups and
yes,
oh, Dawn, thank you. I love that sweater too. So,
it
um,
is a cool sweater. I gotta make it still.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And I also have on here, click through the links that you find in the blog post. All
Yes,
right, so just interact with that content. Either I'll link to something else that relates to that product that's mine,
hmm,
or a helpful article. Sometimes I'll link out to another designer's tutorial or
yeah,
something like that that enhances your experience with my product. And again, all of that stuff tells Google that people really like that blog post and then start
yes,
to promote it.
yes.
So
Anytime
you
that you
don't have to
interact with
do anything except interact with that link.
Yep, yep. Anytime that you can actually interact or do something within um, the post that you're looking at, it will help the ad revenue. Then also promotes that, and it just I don't know what it is. I don't understand all the clicky clicks, but I'm going to because you guys, I'm in a marketing class this time.
Yay.
Applied marketing. I don't know that I'm going to understand everything, but here's hoping because one of the things we're going to learn is how to understand all the clicky clicks. So I might have
Uh,
a
we
better
All right. Well,
explanation.
if you can help me figure out the do follow and the no follow links, I would love that.
Yeah.
Um, don't even try. Um, Tag designers on social media. I love it when someone on Instagram does a post on their own feed and um, they tag me because they've made one of my product. I love seeing my stuff out in the
I do
wild.
too. I do too.
Oh, I just love it.
And I love seeing what other people do with it because when we create it, we have this one design in our mind, or we might have this
Mhm.
variation to it. But other people see it and they just run crazy with it.
Right.
I have
And
had people do my Christmas blankets, especially the ugly Christmas sweater blanket. That one, the year that we did it, we had people just absolutely redesigning parts of it, and just the stuff they did with this blanket was just blowing my mind. I'm like,
right.
my brain didn't even touch that. So that's why it's so much fun when I get to see somebody else do one of my
Yeah.
patterns. I don't care how simple it is. I love seeing what people do.
Yeah, I do too. So tag those designers on social
Yeah,
media at
yeah,
Madam Stitch. at busy_crochet.
Yes, and you have one in here about sharing your favorite designers' patterns on posts when people put something out there that I'm looking for such and such. Do you know? And if you know of a
Oh
designer
yeah.
that's got something that touches on that, whether it's a free or it's a paid pattern, usually it doesn't matter if you're sharing a link. Um, Share their link. I mean, it's not costing you anything.
Mm-mm.
Especially you're just helping them.
Yeah, I think you underestimate the power you have
Mhm.
over our marketing.
Yes.
Um, Tagging us, showing our stuff in public, the looking for posts, all of that kind of stuff gets our, oh yeah, there's a designer I might want to
Mhm.
check out, and just helps to promote, without costing you a penny.
Mhm. If you've ever heard like word of mouth, okay, and for years and years and years, the best way to get known was by word of mouth, and still to this
Hmm.
day, it's that way because you can have the best radio, you can have the best TV commercial, but if you are not hearing from actual people that want
Right.
that pattern, that have maybe made that pattern, have eaten at that restaurant, have driven that vehicle,
Yep.
everybody, or used that heater or the light, like everybody looks at reviews and reads reviews because they want to know that somebody else has been there and what is their thought on that. So word of mouth is still the most
Yeah.
powerful way of
Yeah.
spreading the news about a business.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So that's why at the beginning of every episode, we ask you to follow and like us on
Yeah.
YouTube, because that's a good way to get the
Yep.
word out.
And we love
Um,
it when you share our videos because I see on there
mhm.
often in the algorithms or whatever that it got shared so many times. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody shared our stuff.
That's so cool. Oh, let's see what else. Oh, well, Dawn is a perfect example of this.
Mhm.
Participate in our free events.
Yes.
You know, do the crochet alongs, do the scavenger hunts, do the blog hops, do all the things.
Yeah.
Um, where it doesn't, well, the cal costs you money for the yarn unless you're using your stash, but for the most part, everything is free because the pattern gets released in segments. So participate in all of those things, and that helps us gain some traffic and stuff.
And Dawn says she tries to share and thumbs up. Those are great ways of
Yeah,
just
that's perfect.
passive participation, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yep. Yep. Now you have a
Um,
list here as well of things I see. We've touched on some of these. Follow designers on the social media
yeah.
platforms. Share their patterns on your own social media accounts. So you don't always have to be on ours.
Mhm.
Just do it on yours, but make sure that you tag us. Um, Newsletter, leave reviews and comments on the patterns. So I regularly have people on my free patterns ask me questions for
Mhm.
clarification, which is great, because
Mhm.
if there's something that they don't understand, now it's down in the comments for other people to see.
Yes.
Um,
And
you
I
know,
read comments. I read reviews, especially on patterns I haven't touched.
I do.
I read them.
Yeah, I do. We'll talk about Etsy next week because
Yeah.
that's a whole beast in and of itself. So we'll talk about reviews in that one. But if you have a place where you can leave a comment or review, do that.
Mhm.
Um, you use testers a lot when you're designing, don't you?
I do because I primarily design blankets and large items.
Mhm.
You know what, it doesn't matter how big the item is. I try to have at least one person test it. Somebody who's going to just give me some straight feedback. Most of my testers at this point know how I write, so that can be a good and a bad thing because they get just as problem blind as I do because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, oh, I know what she meant, so they just cruise right past it instead of changing it. But
Well, that's why we have our patterns tech edited.
yes, yes,
Just
I have a tech editor that goes through, and boy, she nails me to the wall. And
Oh my
I'm
gosh, we use the same one. I stole Biz's tech
like,
editor.
yes,
She's
oh,
fabulous.
I
Neve
love
isn't here
sharing it.
today.
She's good.
She is ridiculously good.
She is.
You can't get anything past her.
No,
Not a
and that's
thing.
what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a blessing in both our lives. But as far as leaving reviews on patterns, and you were talking about, we're going to talk about Etsy next week. And we're going to definitely go in depth more next week about that. But that's one of those areas you want to be a little bit careful of what you say. And I'm just going to leave it at that because we're going to dig deep into that next week.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can really make or break somebody by what you say.
Yeah. And I actually have a story about someone who, which I'll share next week, about how just a couple of comments nearly ruined her.
Right.
She's fine, but it's really tricky out there. So just
another
be
way,
careful.
Another way to do it. Do you have a Ravelry group?
I do not. Do you?
No, I did years ago, but I've really fallen out of like using, like I go into Ravelry and I do spend some time in there, but probably not what I should. Considering it's one of my selling platforms. But do you have a Facebook group?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a Facebook page and a Facebook group. The group is where I run all of my crochet alongs and my events. And the Facebook page is basically the group without all the interaction.
Right. I think I
Which is
have
the
pretty much
business
the
page.
same thing because I just use
Mhm.
my group for my crochet alongs. It seems like where the Ravelry groups used to be really, really heavy, hot and heavy, and I think some of them still are. It just depends on what it is. But a lot of people have switched over to Facebook groups.
Mhm.
I know that it was always weird. I had a hard time getting into the Ravelry groups.
It just didn't seem very user-friendly to me. Now, that may have changed.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if people use them. It'd be worth checking out because I often wonder how people find my patterns because Ravelry has
Yeah.
tens of thousands of patterns on the platform and how our stuff comes up in the search. I mean,
Mm,
the less specific you are, the more results you're going to get. So it's interesting to me to see. I would love to know how people find our patterns on Ravelry
same.
since there are so
Same.
many. Oh,
All right. The last 2 points that we had, we really pretty much talked about promoting your work, their work on your own website. Yeah. Their,
well, if you have your own website or you have your own social media accounts and you've made something of ours, that's the place where I was
okay.
talking about,
Yes.
post it and tag us
There you
so that
go.
there we
Yeah.
we don't advocate. We're not asking you to come to our pages and go,
Come
she's
to
just the greatest thing since sliced bread, because that would
She's
be
amazing. She's
I
just
think that would
amazing.
probably be a little icky to ask that.
Let's see. How tacky could we make this? Um.
Well, we could dive way deep into it, but we're not going to
Oh
go there.
Lord.
Let's keep this
Yeah.
above
No.
board.
But the last thing is just participate in their giveaways and contests and stuff. And
Yep.
you have a fun one
Yep.
coming up.
Well, this is my birthday month, so and I was hoping to have it ready for for next week, but probably the week after. I do a scavenger hunt every year, and it is so much fun.
I love
I
stuff
give
like
away a free pattern every day, and this
that.
time
Ooh.
I've got a grand prize I'm going to give away. It's not,
Ooh.
huge or anything, but it's better than just a free pattern. So
Yes.
anyway, look for that. I'll be advertising that in my newsletter and in the Facebook group and all the Instagram, all the places. So
There was a
just watch for
time
that.
when all of us were starting to grow our Instagram groups, and if you hit 100, then you had a giveaway. If you hit 1,000, then you had a giveaway. And if every new
Right.
milestone, you had a giveaway. I used to do giveaways all the time, and then all of a sudden, they started changing like the way that you could do it on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And they were like, well, you've got to make sure that there's all this special wording in there because if they suck the joy right out of it. So
I don't even do it on, I just say, hey, go check out the blog. And that's
that's
where
what you
all of,
should do.
all of
Yeah.
this stuff is. It's not, hey, you need to do this. No, you just need to click the link and
Yeah.
go
And I'm
check it
not a
out.
fan of you've gotta like and follow and then give me the names of 3 friends, and then I want you to also
And
share
your
this
and
on
your
everything you've ever
firstborn
done.
child is
Yes,
part of the bargain.
and the feather from a phoenix, since, we're going there.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But anyway, we make it work.
We had fun. All
We
right.
do.
So bringing it all back to, we love it if you do purchase our premium patterns. We're very grateful to you because, when you buy from a designer, you are paying their light bill, or you're putting a meal on their
Mhm.
table, or diapers for the baby, something. So everybody that you know purchase from, it's not they're not out there making $1 million, most of them. Well, I don't
Right.
know any of them. So if they
It's
are,
not
I want
me.
to know what they're doing. But yeah, we appreciate you purchasing them, but we also appreciate all of the other small things that you do every
Mhm.
day to help support us in whatever way you can. We're not trying to beg for your help or make it so that, oh, you have to. We appreciate you, and we don't want you to feel burdened or pressured into doing something you can't afford.
Exactly. So
All
we
right.
appreciate all of the tips today, Ms. Biz.
And so with that, I guess we're just going to finish up with, what are we watching this week? My
Gosh.
list is not that exciting.
Oh, well, I watched the first episode of the new season of Reacher. My goodness, I love that man. Just
I
and
know.
the premise in this season looks like it's going to be ridiculously cool. Um, Trying to think what else we've been basically just binging. Well, we don't binge, that's the wrong word. We've been watching the CBS network dramas
Uh-huh.
as a general rule. Continuing with Severance, and my daughter likes to watch Lego Masters, so we'll watch an episode of that every now and
That
then.
one's a fun one too.
Um, Baseball starts on my birthday at the end of the month, but they're starting to show some of the spring training games. My husband's hilarious. He won't watch a football game or a baseball game recorded. It has to be in real time.
Really?
And he goes, "Oh yeah." But the spring training,
Hmm.
he doesn't like watching that either, because that's like the kiddie pool. He wants to be in the Olympic size pool. So I'm like, dude, I'm
He's
handing you
very
this on a silver platter. Just go watch your baseball.
so funny.
What
Yeah,
about you,
Tony,
Biz?
we need to find out when Rugby Sevens starts, because
Hmm.
we've been trying to watch the rugby on Peacock, because that's where you
Hmm.
can access it here. And it's been just the regular sixes, the Six Nations, I think it is. And we tried watching it, and he falls asleep every time. He's like, I need the sevens. It's shorter, it's quicker, it's,
Yeah,
like, they pound on each other more. Like, there's just too many people on the field. So he likes the fact that the sevens, just have these very small units, and
right.
they're very fast. So
Yep.
that's sports wise what we're waiting for. And then we've been watching The Floor on Hulu, and that's been very fun. That's really kind of seems like it's picking up popularity. We've been watching Traders on Peacock, and I think Survivor's starting again.
I
And
did see that.
I know I always call it The Trip Around the World. It's not what it's called.
The Amazing Race.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you.
I don't even watch that.
See, you and my
Don't watch
husband, like,
those.
you can read my mind because I'm like always the trip around the world because I cannot remember what the name of the show is. But there's certain, I have language in the house, like, the string that you plug into the wall and you plug in your phone. It's called the string for me. But what is it called? What
That's
is it
called a
actually called?
cord. It's
The cord? Yeah, the cord.
charging cord.
It's the string. Can you get me my string? And everybody in the house knows what my string is.
Oh my
There are
gosh.
certain words that I can't remember, and I'm calling it menopause brain because I didn't used to be stupid, but all of a sudden it's like woo.
Now, see, I blame it on the fact that we're cramming things in our brains every day. We're just cramming so many things in that
Yes,
there's only so much space.
I'll take
So
that.
yep, and other things have to go by the wayside, and it's usually the stuff that really
But as
needs to
long
be
as everybody
remembered.
understands what the trip around the world and the string is in my house, we are good. Um, but there was one. I have a stupid story to tell you. So there was one time when in the winter time our house was very cold when we first moved down here. The downstairs was. So we used the spare bedroom upstairs and made a sitting room, and that was our TV room because it was cozy, we were warm, blah blah blah. And everybody had their place. I was working on a blanket and I had everything up there, but I couldn't find my scissors. And so as I'm saying this to them, I'm thinking, is there a scissors in the room? I said, does there a scissors live up here? And that was
What?
the first time my brain had malfunctioned. And then there was another time in that same time frame where we were getting Krispy Kremes, and I was so excited to get Krispy Kremes. I went, Krispies! And so these are the like my brain just short circuits at certain times. And what comes out is what comes out. So those are two lines which have literally lived in our house ever since. When we're really excited about something, we all holler Chris Beams. And if we can't find something, we go, does there a Skizzers live up here?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Never a dull moment.
There just really isn't. And there just isn't time for a dull moment because it keeps on moving. It happens every time I open my mouth.
Oh my gosh.
But
Well,
anyway,
we love it.
so yeah, I mean, just watching the silly shows. I know I've been watching stuff on Netflix like the Culinary Wars, which is a Korean food competition show. I find it interesting. I find it fascinating the things that they make, and I don't know how many because it's like every single dish has got gochujang in it. Every single one. I don't know what it is,
I don't
but I
even know
want
what that is.
to.
Oh, good. I was going to say, do you know what
Oh,
that
I do.
is?
Like Korean food. I would like to try your food because it all looks really good, except for the funky ones with the octopus in it. I don't want that.
No, no.
But other than that, that's all I've been doing. And I've been working on our little project that you are putting together for this summer, which is going to be very fun. Now, is that going to be a crochet along or is that going to be just
Yes, it's a crochet along. It's a blanket crochet along that
yeah,
will span 6 weeks and will take us on a trip. This really will be a trip around the world.
yes,
It's
a trip
called the
around the
Road
world?
Trip Blanket.
Okay,
And
I'm
we
super
have a
excited.
couple of people who live outside the United States, so
Yes,
should be fun.
it is going to be fun. I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with because
Mhm,
the places are so different that they're coming from
mhm.
that
Yep,
I think it'll be great.
yep.
So that's what I've
You'll
been
hear
working
more about that. Yeah, you'll hear more about that as time goes by.
on. Time goes on.
Speaking
Yeah,
of, it's probably time for us to call
we
it
should
a
probably say bye.
day. Yeah.
There are too many mental pauses here. We should probably
Well,
go now.
when we get to the punchy part, we probably should punch out, you know. Just just
Thank you,
saying.
everybody, for sticking with us, though.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Alrighty, everyone. So we are going to say goodbye on this Friday. We hope that you have an amazing weekend coming up. Whether you're going to be dry, whether you're going to be wet, I hope it's blessed. And you guys have fun. We will see you next week.
Same. Bye, everybody.